Hey, this is Kai Logue, and you're listening to the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate. I designed this podcast to get you real, actionable information that you can apply directly into your wholesaling business. There's no fluff, no bullshit, just real advice and real strategies from the best investors and wholesalers in the game. Awesome. So yeah, we are doing the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate podcast. If you're new to the show, we do this every week, Friday at 12:30. I bring in some of the best guests in the wholesaling industry to talk about their business, talk about what's working, what's not, how they got started. At the end of each episode, we end it with a Q&A session. So whatever questions you guys have, make sure to drop them in the comments throughout. And at the end, we'll make sure we get them answered for you. So today I am joined by Hunter Kasiri over at Equity Jet. Hunter, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, excited to have you and excited to rock and roll with the show. So for people who don't know, do you want to introduce yourself? Who is Hunter Kasiri?
Sure. So I'll give a quick little kind of chronological breakdown, I guess. So first gen family. So I don't have really any family here in the U.S. My dad came here, met my mom, and had me and my brother. So I don't really, didn't have a lot to go off of. Didn't have a bunch of peers to look up to, or aspiring role models. It was really just kind of like my dad, um, father figure that kind of went into the entrepreneurial field. He became a self-employed business owner, so that kind of gave me that early interest of wanting to do something similar. I'm in the DFW area. I started doing real estate back in 2015. Started taking the classes. I did it online. I didn't want to do it in the classroom setting. I just wanted to breeze through it, kind of like a speeding ticket course, It's
Yeah.
real quick. Just click, 70%, go, get the license. Didn't really care. Just wanted to get the license because I realized, hey, once I get started, I'll actually learn what happens when you're in the game.
Right.
Uh, so then got the real estate license 2016, was in college during that time and graduated in 2018. Was doing like fix and flips, or sorry, helping some investors with fix and flips, like listing property. Was doing a ton of leases for people because I was in a college town in Denton at UNT.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly just college students trying to find leases. So it was like the only way really to make money because I didn't know people who were buying or selling houses. I was, the people my age weren't buying and selling houses. So um, got the first started my first fix and flip in 2018 from start to finish, bought it from a wholesaler. Uh, didn't really do enough due diligence on the analysis with ARV, ended up losing some money. And I was like, hey, I don't want to ever buy from a wholesaler again. I want to find my own deals. So that was kind of the eye-opening moment. I was like, hey, I'm going to just source my own deals, cherry pick anything I don't want, I'll flip out. So started wholesaling full-time in 2018. And since then, I've done well over 200 deals. I honestly don't know the full count, but it's something over 200. In the beginning, a lot of those checks were like 2, 3, 4, 5K. They were really small, little base hits. Then when you're progressing until now, the average is more like 30, 35, 40, 50K. So, significant margin difference between then and now. Started a real estate networking event 2022 and have been growing that ever since. And in 2024, we're launching something bigger.
That's badass, man. I love that. So yeah, so it's funny you mentioned base hits. I was just talking to a guy that's my mastermind, Chris, and he's working on getting his first one, and yeah, really trying to do a home run. And I'm like, hey man, just get basic, make 10K. Just do it, get it done, so you can get to the finish line. I mean, my first deal, I only made $1,000, and it sucked. I only made $1,000 because there's a lot of work going into it, but it was so valuable, getting that experience. Yeah, and just knowing it's possible.
Just like I mentioned that flip I did, I lost money on that flip, but that was valuable learning lessons that I was able to take and transfer into my wholesale business. I was like, I actually know what an investor's going through when they buy from a wholesaler. I've done it myself, so I've been there. A lot of wholesalers haven't really been there yet. So I think it's really important if you want to wholesale the right way, be on the other end of your product, learn the hard way. See if it works.
100%. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we did pretty well on our flips and we lost money on the last one, but yeah, every time it was so much more valuable actually knowing, hey, this is what happens on the back end and just seeing the other end.
And being able to know how to conservatively estimate ARVs, rehab estimates, because that's another thing wholesalers don't know how to do. You see they cherry pick ARVs and comps just to try to bump that value. but they don't even know how to properly run comps. And having a real estate agent background, I know how to use MLS. I know how to actually comp, run CMAs, and actually diligently do each of these things. They need to have done a flip. They need to know how to use MLS and run comps. They need to have their own connections and networks so that they can be a resource to their investors, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. I love that. So, what does your business look like now? And then how's it different from when you first started?
Man, that's a totally different. So as you know, being an entrepreneur, it's a roller coaster. It's constant up and down, and just adjusting with the punches. Back then, I was able to identify that if I was focused on direct to owner only, I greatly increased my margins and I have higher control over the autonomy of the deal. I handle the contracts. If I need to memo it, I can memo it. So if you got the JV, you're just a JV partner. You can't do all of these same things. You don't have that autonomy. You have an option in it, right?
Mm,
So I realized I don't want to do the JV model as much. I would rather have a smaller power team that focuses on direct owner acquisitions.
mm,
So in the beginning, we realized that it was just tough because we were still learning, some of the tricks, kind of adapting with the marketing changes, especially in SMS. Um, and then now it's more just uh, slim team. But I do the shotgun approach where I cast a big net. I pull a big list. I know a lot of wholesalers, they only do have lists 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people. My average list size is 40 to 60K. And I'm pulling those, skipping those, and just shotgunning, right?
mm.
So it's a little bit different, but I try to focus on direct to owner wholesale deals that are highly discounted. And instead of just trying to find a deal another wholesaler has and try and JV and get a little bit of chunk off of his fee, knowing that he could just sell it underneath me, and then I wasted all my time, right?
Right.
So really that was the focus this whole time, is just direct to owner acquisitions.
Hmm.
Everything else will fall into place.
I love that. So, diving into the list, everybody wants to know, hey, what list should I pull, especially as we're starting out? A lot of people listening to the show are either new wholesalers, or they're just getting into it and trying to get their feet wet. What kind of lists do you pull where you're getting that many records?
I It kind of relates to what I was saying, the shotgun approach. I don't necessarily pull a single list. I use criterias within prop street, right? So I try to think about it logically. So I'll go in there, and so if I'm targeting land, right? Let's say I want to do a land list. I want to see anything that's less than like 200 acres. I want something that is within 2 hours of a metro. And then I know that an owner, if they've only owned the land for a couple years, 5 years, 2 years, they maybe inherit it, they're probably going to want more realistic, a closer value that's more realistic to market value today. But if
Mm,
the owner has owned this property for more than 20 years and they own less than three properties, so these are my criterias. You've owned it for more than 20 years and you own three or less properties. So three or less, because this might indicate that this person is not necessarily an investor. They could have
mm,
inherited these properties, they might have bought it with family members. But if they have three or more, that could be a good indicator that, hey, this person is an investor. They know how to handle the contracts. They're very savvy with the numbers. They know comps. They have a realtor buddy. They're going to want to use their title company. It's probably going to not be a great place for me to try to get a deal.
mm.
So instead of trying to just pull a vacant absentee owner list, I would rather 20 years owned, less than three properties within 2 hours of my metro.
I love that. Yeah, I don't hear many people talk about that, but that's a great point because I feel like once you get to the people that have a lot of properties, they're going to bully you, and they're going to,
They know the
yeah,
game.
they know the deal.
They know
Hmm.
the game. So, and our business is not necessarily just to target people who don't know the game. But if
Hmm.
our business is to solve problems and close deals and make money, then we have to technically go after the people who have the motivation but don't know what to do. They don't know how to
Right.
get out of that situation. So they're motivated and they don't know how to get out of it. So we can come in, get them out of the situation, solve the problem, and make money at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially, I mean, if they only have a couple properties, they might not be treating it like a real business as opposed to someone who has a lot, and just more points to them being distressed. So
Right.
that's great, man. So how are you reaching out? So if you're going through that many contacts, how are you getting in front of all those people? Do you have a team that's helping you reach out to them, or what's that process look like?
It's SMS. So this is also has been a roller coaster because I'm sure you do SMS marketing, right?
Yeah.
So you're obviously well aware of all the 10 DLC stuff and all the
Mhm.
changes. Are you familiar with Roar?
No.
So I've used Roar for like 3 years now. They're a smaller dog. They're not like the big guy like Launch Control. Launch Control came
Mhm.
out of nowhere like a year or two ago, and I think a year ago, and they just took a bunch of that steam in the SMS world because they've done a great job of following all of
Mm.
the rules of the big cell phone carriers. Some of these smaller dogs like Roar haven't really been fully adapting to all of those rules. So one of the main ones is kind of like auto texting,
Mhm.
because what classifies an auto text? Meaning, so if I have to click each individual text, that means it's not an auto text.
Mm.
If I can just click send campaign and it'll send out 5,000 texts, that's an auto text.
Right.
Right? So that's one thing that the big dogs do. They're not doing auto text. So launch control, you got to do the click, 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 click. Um, and then on Roar, it's auto text. So I've been using that for years. That kind of has been a hurdle. I've been having to transfer all of my systems into launch control and learn an entirely new system.
Mm.
But I think overall it'll be a good change because I already see how powerful of a tool launch control is. So
Mhm.
SMS is the answer. I mostly use SMS. And then outside of SMS, organic word of mouth referrals, being
Mhm.
a resource to people in your community. If somebody is online and they're asking for templates or contracts, help them out. That
Mhm.
that might turn into them coming back to you 6 months later and saying, "Hey, dude, thanks for that contract. I just got a deal. Do you want to help me with it?" And this guy doesn't. He might not know how to move the deal. He doesn't know the buyers in the community. He doesn't know how to handle the contracts or the title or to get surveys and send amendments or whatever. The whole process. So he comes to you because you helped him out that time. So I think constantly doing things like this shows that you're a resource to people in your community, and this generates organic JVs.
100%.
You don't have to spend the money on the marketing, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I love that because I feel like there's two great points there. One, be a go giver and provide value, and maybe not every person's going to come back to you, but the ones that do, it's worth it. And then
Mhm.
on top of it, it's just a better way to live, to help other people than to
But
have that scarcity mindset.
I do want to extend on that though, because like you can't just do this to everyone. Not
Hmm.
everyone is gonna. You're gonna waste a whole lot of time if you're just
Right.
helping every single person. You really gotta. It's a matter of kind of reciprocation. It's a two-way street. Look, hey, if I send you these contracts and then you disappear for 6 months and we've never talked again, and then you hit me up with another question and I see that you're not doing anything,
Hmm.
I want to see that you're doing something so that I'm inclined to want to help you, right? I want to see that you proactively care about your good so that I can come in and maybe we can do something better, right? I
Yeah.
don't want to just try to help everybody who doesn't really care about helping themselves.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, one question that kind of helped me weed out some people that a friend shared with me that I started to use was, if someone asks you and you don't really know them, just ask them, what have you tried so far? Like, or what are, have you tried to figure it out yourself? Or, that's really what I'm looking for to see. Have they tried to Google it? Have they tried to do anything? Or they're just, hoping you're going to
right,
give them everything?
exactly. I mean, you don't want, like I said, you just don't want to just if they can't help themselves, you
Hmm.
can't help them, right?
Yeah, 100%. So going back to the text for a second. So you're going through the text. How many texts do you think you guys are sending a day? And are you? So for me, like I know we start with the text. We try to transition to a phone call. What happens? Someone positively. How many are you sending? And when you get that positive response, what happens next for you guys?
So when we were with Roar, which is really not that long ago, this is a whole new having a transfer over to launch control. So I'm talking when I was with Roar. With Roar, send out all of the text. We try to determine if they're just like phishing,
Hmm.
trying to just get some type of name or a phone number or an email to try and send a DNC or sorry, a demand letter for DNC and all that stuff. So we try to try to determine if that's what they're not doing, and if the numbers are good, it's in our area, then we'll follow up with the call. But in general, it all stays into the text world until
Hmm.
we know for sure that hey, this person is probably a legit seller. And we do a lot of things. We'll skip trace the phone number on the end again through different databases to see if the same thing populates.
Hmm.
We'll search the name on Facebook, make sure that it doesn't say like Attorney General for the Texas Real Estate Commission, just like sketchy stuff. So like we'll do our due diligence to make sure that everybody we know who we're talking to is who they claim to be, right?
Hmm.
Because we don't want to be talking to people who we've been we've been in situations where we're talking to people, get a property under contract, and then since we're virtually talking to this person, we've never actually physically seen them in person. It was all through phone, email, text. we did the DocuSign, got it signed, and they made claims in the future saying that that wasn't me.
Mm.
So it kind of puts you in a very tough situation because an ink signature is going to stand, but a DocuSign signature, somebody could claim I didn't do that.
Right.
So we try to keep them in the text world as much as possible until we've determined they're real. Once we've determined they're real, we transfer them into a phone call, and then we try to meet them in person. We'll go out to the property, assuming it's drivable within 2 hours,
Hmm.
and then close it from there.
That's great, man. I love that. So awesome, man. I know you mentioned you guys, so you're doing events and you're switching this year. You said you guys are mixing the events up this year a bit. You want to tell us a bit about how that works and what kind of events you're doing?
Right. So I started the networking event stuff back in 2022, January 2022. So this is the second full year of doing the event. Um, beginning of last year, we were averaging like 10 to 20 people.
Hmm.
Middle of last year, more like 20 to 25. And then moving into this year, we went into a larger venue. It's a brewery, so it's a lot more, cohesive networking environment. You got alcohol. Entrepreneurs love alcohol, so especially real estate people and title people. You should see my title lady. She's up there with her laptop, just pounding beers. She's all stressed and stuff. So transferred into the brewery, scaled it up, brought in food trucks, live music, a few more sponsors, better speakers, better presentation. Writing this out, averaging 40, 50 people per month. Uh, and then I'm going to end this mastermind. It's called the First Wednesday Mastermind. I'm going to end it here in December. This will be the
Hmm.
last First Wednesday Mastermind. And then starting January 2024, 2024 January is going to be the Accelerate event. So Accelerate event is going to be essentially like a 5x version of that. We're
Hmm.
moving to a 5 times larger venue. We're going to have, instead of one speaker each month for a total of 12 speakers, we're going to have 3 speakers each month. And then on September, there's going to be 7. It's a total of 37 speakers, all for 2024. We have a significantly larger networking room. We're going to have food vendors. So it's going to be a lot larger of a presence. And the goal there is, we're not sitting here trying to shove sales down your throat. Everybody who's going to come and speak, you included, you're on our roster. So everybody who's going to come to speak, they know that, hey, it's 95% value in education, 5% pitch. At the very end of your presentation, you're welcome to, throw up your QR code, social medias, whatever it is to kind of get your marketing out of it. But that's the whole premise of the event, is that it's all about value and education. We're not trying to shove mentorship down your throat or anything like that.
I love that. Yeah, it's the same way that we do our events. The same way we try to do everything. It's just leading with value. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just such a better way to do it, and it's like nobody wants to go and do an event and get sold to you.
It makes you feel better too, feel
Hmm.
better about yourself. Like, I don't want to be trying to convince these people to pay $20,000 mentorship. You don't
Hmm.
need to pay that. You can get a lot of this stuff on YouTube, assuming you know which videos to click on, right?
Hmm.
So you don't have to pay $20,000 to get that education. It's just leverage your time. You don't have, if you have the time, leverage it. If money's what you want to leverage, so be it. But you don't have to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I always try to look at it like that. Like, you have time and money. If you have more time than you have money, then you invest that time. Now, so going back for wholesaling, I know it sounds like, I'm sure at your events you have a lot of new wholesalers. What tips do you have for people that are just getting started or want to get into the game for the first time?
Man, yeah, I know. I get it all the time. I guess we'll start with along the topic of Facebook, because Facebook is where a lot of my business is. Um, Obviously I'm younger. I'm hitting the age where people my age are starting to buy their first properties, but they're still maybe not selling their properties yet, right?
Mm.
So a lot of the people who are buying and or selling are the older crowd, the people 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe 35s. So all those people are on Facebook. They're not really on Instagram. They're not on TikTok. So a lot of my business is on Facebook. So I do recommend, if you're trying to get into the business, clean up your presence, get your page set up. Don't have a profile picture with you holding a bunch of $100 bills, like, nothing weird, like, just look legit. You also don't wear a suit. Don't look like an agent. Don't look like a real estate agent with a suit and a professional photo shot. Just like get a casual picture of yourself that shows that you're a real human being. Fill out your bio, create a page for your business. If you don't have an LLC yet, just make a DBA.
Mm.
ABC Home Buyers, make a Facebook page for it, and then tag it to your page, and just clean up your presence online. and really try to focus on direct to owner if possible. I know it's expensive and I know it's difficult. So it might be best for you to start in the JV world, but at least by having your cleaner presence, it's going to be easier for you to acquire those deals because you're going to look a lot more legit. So clean up your online presence, get your LinkedIn page set up. So when people Google you and they search you, they find you.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. So many people will just have like a picture of a cat or like a cartoon or some shit, and
Or
then
even the
trying to
default
deals.
gray no profile picture, and they got like a
Mhm.
random ass, random Facebook
No,
name.
you're good. You can cuss.
They got a random Facebook name, and it's like, dude, this looks like a straight up scam. Like it's just some fishy
Right.
stuff. Like, look legit, look legit.
Yeah. I think really just kind of have that outside perspective. Like if it wasn't your profile and this person randomly sent you a message or you saw a post from this person, like what would you think?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You got to think about it from every different perspective. You got to think about it. If you don't, then eventually you're gonna find out the hard way, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's another great point you made too was you focus on Facebook because that's where your customers are. And there's some people like, oh, I don't like Facebook or I like Instagram or I like this one. And it's not about what you like, it's like
Get
what your
over it,
customers like.
guys. Get over it. Facebook is where the people who are buying and selling properties are. So
Hmm.
definitely recommend getting in there, especially for people who try to find JVs, because again, these are the older people who are doing the deals. Get in there, start learning from them. Maybe generate a JV. You know, so
Yeah, definitely. Now, do you have more success in like groups or just on your personal page? Or where would you
definitely,
recommend somebody
definitely
starts?
groups. Yeah, the groups are huge, and I also will recommend on the side just going into your local Facebook marketplace. I've
Mm,
closed a lot of random deals that I so the things to look for, go to your Facebook marketplace, click on home sales. And what you're looking for is you want to see the picture, like they've done a terrible job marketing the deal. Grainy pictures, they might just take a picture of the floor, but they're trying to sell a house. There may be zero description in it. These are the ones that you can try to grab because it's not being sold by a professional that's in the industry, right?
mm,
It's a better chance of that being a real FSBO. Like they don't know how to market the deal. There's no information on it. Another thing, add every single person in the real estate industry that's in your community on your Facebook. Every single person. Go to all the real estate groups, add all on your friends. Go to all of the groups, join all of the groups. So then after you've done all of that, then you go into Facebook Marketplace and then you could see who the seller is on that deal. You could put your cursor over it and it'll say 500 mutual friends in 20 of the same groups of you. In 20 of 20, you get what I'm trying to say. So
yeah.
this indicate this person's in the real estate industry. How does this person have 500 of the same friends who all do fix and flips, rentals, et cetera, and he's all in these 20 same real estate groups? This person is in the industry.
Mm,
So it's a good way to filter out those people. Try to find the people that don't have the mutual friends and aren't in those groups.
mm. That's good. Yeah, I think that's huge. I think on both sides too. Yeah, I feel like then once you start to have that and you build that, it's easier to get more people. So it's
But
just
these are
starting.
only good for like, once your main marketing is out, you're waiting for some
Mm,
pending deals to close, you don't have any more inbound leads, and you kind of got some downtime. Go to Facebook Marketplace, find some leads because you can generate free deals out of that.
mm,
So I'm not saying this should be your first thing, but if you are getting into wholesale, maybe start with JVs and then try to do this to generate some income. After you've generated that income, then try to turn all of that into your own direct to owner acquisitions.
mm. Now, for someone who doesn't know what a JV is, can you explain what that is and how that works?
Sure. So JV is a joint venture. It's just an agreement where two people come together for a desired outcome. So this desired outcome would be to flip the deal. So let's say I'm the wholesaler that has the deal, and you're the wholesaler that wants to flip a deal, right? You're trying to make some money. You're trying to find a JV. You come to me and you say, hey man, I got a buyer here in this area for that deal. Would you like to JV it with me? And I say yes, sure. Here you go. I send a contract to you. You sign it, and it says you get X% of my assignment fee paid out upon closing.
Right. Okay, great explanation. Yeah, really that easy. And yeah, I know a lot of people get confused because JV means different things in different industries. But yeah, it's usually just that simple. Someone has a seller, someone has a buyer most of the time, and you guys split it. But awesome, man. So, what are some things you wish you knew when you first started?
It would have been good to know who all of the movers were without having to find out the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because you could seek knowledge from these people. You can seek relationships, different opportunities from these people. So it would have been good to know the people who were legit. When I first started out, I had a lot of random people who never even closed deals, coming to me trying to hire me, bring me into their brokerage or let me flip their deals. And then fast forward to now, and I look back at where they're at, and I'm like, dude, these guys still haven't closed any deals. Like, if I stuck with them, where would I be?
Mm.
So I think by knowing the people who are the real, the real deal movers and the real deal closers, this in your community and your network will make a huge impact on your trajectory. Try to align with the people who have the same goals as you.
Yeah, that's great advice. If someone's brand new, they don't know anything, how do you think, what's some ways that they can differentiate between someone that's actually doing deals and in the business, and it's maybe, more talk than action?
Find a specialty, man. Instead of just trying to be generalized, a lot of wholesalers just try to do general wholesale. Try to find a specialty. Right now, the ice cream flavor of the month is picking up sub twos. So
Mm.
in creative finance, if you can find your sub two deals, I think specialize in that. That would be maybe a good place to put your focus. Um, and while you're focusing on that and specializing on that, you're studying the other things in the meantime, so that when you're ready for it, you can do it. But if you just kind of jump in and try to do generalized wholesale, I think there's too much going on.
Mm.
You got to start somewhere, and I think that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, it's a big thing I see a lot of people struggle with, especially new people and, really all entrepreneurs. But shiny object syndrome, like, oh, I want to do wholesaling, I want to do sub two, now I want to do seller finance, now I want to, talk to agents, I want to do on market deals, and
I want to go do my
everybody's.
flip. I want to do
Mhm.
Airbnb. Yeah, it's all over the place, and really you just got to slow down, focus, gain the skills and techniques for that one thing that you're trying to do, and then move on to the next. After you've done this for like 2 or 3 years, you maybe not mastered each of those things, but you have a good understanding and a good grasp of those things, right? So
Right. Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, one of my favorite books, The One Thing by Gary Keller. Just focus on that one thing. It's so much easier than, trying to do a bunch of things at once. So, have there been any books or anything that have helped you or your reader at all?
man, I'm not too much of a reader. I'll be honest. I prefer the books that have charts and graphs and numbers, educational stuff like that, rather than wordy paragraphs and stuff. So a couple names, from the Bigger Pockets collection. There's Jay Scott and Brandon Turner. They have a lot of great books,
Mm-hmm.
particularly on like how to run rehab estimates, how to do a rehab from start to finish, or how to run a rental business. So I like those guys because they use a lot of charts and numbers, and it gives you a good visualization. Um, I'm going to recommend Reddit. That's my place for pretty much everything. There's a forum for literally any category. Of course, you got to filter through some of the fluff to figure
Mm-hmm.
out what's real and what's not. But I found that you can get a lot better value out of Reddit, which is interesting that I brought this up because I remembered on my drive here to the office today, I was like, wait, I think I interacted with you like a year or two ago on Reddit.
Oh,
And
nice.
then I like clicked on your page and then I saw you had the YouTube. And so I remember it was like a year ago, maybe two, I don't remember. Uh, and we interacted on Reddit. So small world.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, I like Reddit too. I got to get back on there. I haven't been as active, but it's different. It's definitely its own social platform for sure.
Right. I like it for the educational purposes, not
Mhm.
for going on there and commenting my own stuff or posting my own stuff. I like it to kind of read what some of the other people are saying, because man, you get a lot of, if you find the right posts and the right comments, you can find some highly intellectual people just out there speaking their mind, man. It's great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've got some great stuff on there, and yeah, I feel like a lot of negative stuff too. You got to focus. You got to kind of
You got to
filter.
filter.
But no, it's definitely great. Do you have any subreddits in particular that you like?
Man, not necessarily. They change so often. Just I would really read the anything financial related, try to stay in touch with the markets. What's directly happening with the financial markets is going to directly impact the real estate markets. They're hand in hand.
Hmm.
So the more aware you are of financial trends, anything that's happening with the Fed, inflation rates, mortgage rates, bonds, treasuries, whatever, it's important to pay attention to that because it can affect your long-term investment goals. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. Awesome, man. So yeah, man, I've gotten a bunch of great takeaways, man. It's been super helpful. So one thing I like to ask people, what's your favorite deal that you've done, and can you kind of walk us through and break that down for us?
Man, I don't know if like favorite is like favorite in terms of best payout and like the easiest, or favorite as in craziest story. So it's like kind of tough to pick right here.
Yeah, yeah, it's up
Um,
to you. Yeah, it can go either way.
yeah, I guess I'll tell you about my craziest seller story. It was wild, man. It was similar to what I was talking about. How did a DocuSign? It was a completely virtual deal. They came back later and claimed that, oh, I never signed that. Uh, Dude, they weren't all there. They weren't the most intelligent people. Like they had a lot of slip ups and cracks in their stories and everything, man. It was just so sad. But long story short, contracted the deal from this guy who was supposed to be their cousin or something like that. Contracted it. He sent me the seller's email. So I verified the seller's email. It said the same name as it was on CAD, right? So I took the name. I was like, okay, we're good here. As long as she's the person that clicks sign on it, we're good. He was like, yeah, don't worry about it. So all I know is somebody signed it. I get the deal, open up title. A couple of days go by, and they're coming out being really crazy, saying, "No, we never agreed to that number. This never happened. We never signed that." And I was like, "Well, right when that happens, if I know there's some weird stuff going on, I'm going to go straight into memoing the deal. I
Mm.
want to secure my interest. Um, they're breaching the contract. I'm gonna put in a memo." So I put the memo in. A couple more days pass, and they're sending me the craziest text, man, like all kinds of random threats. And then they went silent for a day or two. And then I got a text out of the blue. And it was a picture, right? It was a picture of a guy sitting down in a chair, and he had duct tape around his mouth. And there was another guy standing there behind him, and he had like a pistol pointed at his head, right?
Wow.
And there was no words on this text. There was just a picture. She just sent the picture of this, and the guy's face was the guy on Facebook Marketplace that I was talking to, right? But it
Wow.
was it was a horrible Photoshop. I saw right
Yeah.
through it. I saw right through it. I was like, dude, this is straight up Photoshop. Like you guys did a terrible job. I didn't say this to them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it. I'm like, you guys did a terrible job. This is a horrible Photoshop. But also, this is a threat,
Yeah.
and you guys are, you're getting in hot water right now. You have memoed your deal. You're threatening right now. Like it's getting. Be careful, right? Um, I did a reverse search of the image. I took the image, I popped it up into Google in a reverse search, and I found the original. And the original obviously is way better. It looks legit.
Yeah.
And then, compared it to hers, and that was it. So ended up the title company came to me saying, "Hey, we really want you to release this memo. Seller's crying, saying that she's going to get legal action. She never signed the deal." And I went back to the title company saying, "No, I'm not going to release my memo. And the fact that you guys are telling me to release my memo makes me look bad to them, because it makes me look like I'm in the wrong. And absolutely not. I'm not in the wrong, and I'm not going to release this memo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this deal to another title company, and I'm never going to use you guys again, because I
Right.
don't appreciate the fact that you guys are picking a side when you're supposed to be a disinterested third party."
Right.
So uh, ended up never using that title company again. Moved on to different title company. Never had that issue again. But yeah, that property's still memoed as far as I know. Haven't heard from her. So
That's
it was
crazy.
wild, man. You saw the picture. It's pretty funny. It's
Yeah. That's nuts. Me, you have to send me a picture of that if you still got it.
I
That's
have I
nuts.
have it somewhere.
That's too funny. So, and then that's a great point too. So I know a lot of people don't know what a memo is. They don't remember their deals. Can you explain what a memorandum is or a memo?
Yeah. So I would like to start out with saying this isn't legal advice.
Hmm.
You know, don't try to memo anything if you don't know what you're doing or how it works in your state. I don't know how it works in other states. I can only speak on behalf of Texas. I don't know if it's a state to state thing or if it's a federal thing. I don't know how it really works, but
Yeah, it changes state to state.
that figured. So
Mm.
I'm only really aware of how it works in Texas. So a memo is, you could either call it a memo or an affidavit. An affidavit is a stronger name for a memo. So title companies over the last couple of years have started to close over memos because they're not recognizing them as legitimate binding interest because of that word memorandum.
Mm.
But if you were to edit the title and rename this document to an affidavit of purchase, or I forget the exact wording, but just change memorandum to affidavit, it makes the contract a lot stronger. Um, so that's the first thing. So second thing is, all it is basically me showing that I have an interest in a property, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out this form. It says, hey, I'm Equity Jet, and then here's the seller of the deal. Here's the property, legal description. We contracted on this date. Uh, if you need to contact us, here's our email address, phone number, physical address, everything here. Boom, notary stamp. And it says that we had intentions of closing on this property and we have binding interest. So what it does is it files a lien on the property. So when there's a lien, it clouds the title, meaning let's say the seller wants to ghost me and go to the next person and sign a contract with them. They sign it, they send it to the title company pulls the title commitment, they're going to see that lien. They're going to see a memorandum of contract on it. Then now they have to go back to me and say, hey, you have a memo. Can you remove that? That's when you kind of have to decide what you want to do in that scenario. And it usually ends out in a payout, like a 5K, 10K, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Yeah, I've gotten burned a few times not doing that. So that sucks.
Well, man, it's not, you shouldn't do it to every deal. And I would never say that to anyone, to go out here and just memo everything. You got to be very specific with what you're memoing, because you're really playing with people's lives. It's legal. It's very legal, and you got to be careful. So if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't trust yourself to handle the situation, then get somebody involved who does, whether that be a really experienced investor in your community or an attorney, just somebody who knows how that all works in your area.
It's awesome, man. All right, man. Well, yeah, this has been great, man. You killed the interview. I definitely enjoyed this one. Lots of great nuggets here. Any closing thoughts or any final things you want to share with the audience?
I guess, guys, just start. The sooner you start, everything's changing. You know, all of these guys who've been doing it for a couple of years, they just got hit by the wave of 10DLC. It's like a little tsunami. Wave just wiped out a massive workforce in the wholesale world. So now that opens up the doors for a lot more new people. So if you can find your specialty and your strength in your network and in your community and within your own personal strengths, start learning those skills to be good at that one strategy. Maybe it's acquiring sub-2 deals. Maybe it's doing RV parks. Whatever it is, find your specialty, but don't just let it be generalized wholesaling, because there's too much of it. Find your specialty, work your way through each, and then you can step out and do all of them together.
I love that.
That's kind of the best thing, man. Just start somewhere and provide value. If you're not providing value and you're not reciprocating, the people who do have the value aren't going to be giving you that value because they know you're not reciprocating. So
100%. Awesome, Hunter. Well, man, I appreciate you. So what's the best way for people to connect with you or to get in contact with you or see what you're up to?
Yeah, Facebook is usually going to be the best place. I mean, I do have a ton of notifications because I have 1,000,001 pages. But add me on Facebook. My name is there in the live stream at the bottom. I'm not too active on Instagram, I'll be honest. Alternatively, if you want to reach out about something like business related, you can email me at hunter@equity-jet.com. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks everybody for hopping on. I appreciate you for coming on again, Hunter, and we'll see everybody again next week. Hey, this is Kai Logue. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I truly appreciate you. If you want more of this information and you want to see these actually recorded live, go ahead, join our Facebook group. It's the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate. It's right on Facebook. Google it, you'll find it. Type it on Facebook, you'll find it. I look forward to seeing you guys in there. We give a ton of free information in there, a bunch of free trainings, free courses. You get all the scripts, contracts, everything you need, A to Z, absolutely free. And I look forward to seeing you all in the group.